Year ago, the entire underworld shook after hearing one terrifying piece of news. The Wolf King was dead. The man who ruled the deadliest assassin organization on Earth disappeared after a failed mission. And from that day onward, every major force celebrated because the monster they feared the most was finally gone. But what nobody knew was that the Wolf King never died. Severely injured and hunted from every side, he abandoned his old identity and returned to Huaxia under the name Jiang Hao. The outside world, he became nothing more than a pathetic live-in son-in-law looked down on by the Feng family, mocked by relatives, insulted by strangers, and treated like absolute trash. But behind that calm expression hides the most dangerous killer alive. While everyone thinks he's weak, Jiang Hao is secretly investigating the truth behind his parents' deaths and fulfilling his father's final wish. And the moment those hidden enemies reveal themselves, the Wolf King will unsheath his fangs once again. This city is about to learn a terrifying truth. The king of killers was never gone in the first place. The story begins from the Cell region in Africa. Here at nighttime, vultures are circling overhead and a full moon has emerged, casting an eerie glow over everything. This place looks less like a military installation and more like the entrance to hell itself. It is the most rampant region for global terrorism and has been termed the forbidden zone of death by governments around the world, the kind of place where even the locals lock their doors twice. Then we are shown a base completely made of iron, rusted and imposing, like a metal beast sleeping in the dark. At the entrance, two terrorists stand guard, probably dreaming of their paycheck or wondering if this shift will ever end. But suddenly, behind one terrorist, like a shadow given form, a killer appears. He places his dagger on that terrorist's neck, and in the next moment he blows off his head, clean-cut, efficient, the kind of move that takes years to master and seconds to execute. At the same time, another killer slits the throat of the second terrorist and finishes. This all happens within just 1 second, the kind of synchronized violence that would make a choreographer weep with envy. Then after killing both of them, the second man calmly places that terrorist's head on the ground, because leaving body parts lying around is apparently just part of the job, and says, "Boss, something does not seem right. Why are there only 2 guards here along the way?" In response to this, the protagonist says, "Be careful, it really does not seem right." The target indicator shows that the item is just ahead. Then the MC and his companion both open the entrance door and peek inside. Inside, there is an empty space, the kind of empty that screams trap in every language. Then his companion says, "The item is over there. The thing they were searching for was right in front of them." Then they move forward very silently and carefully, like cats on carpet, and try to open the box. They succeed. Both of them carefully look inside to see what treasure awaits them. But suddenly the MC realizes something is terribly wrong. His blood runs cold. Inside the box, there's a time bomb with only 20 seconds left before it explodes, kind of surprised that ruins anyone's day. Then he tells his partner, Red Wolf, "We have to run quickly." But Red Wolf says, "Boss, you go first." And as soon as the MC moves out from the entrance, Red Wolf stays there. Seeing this, the MC says, "What are you doing? Hurry up. We have to get out of here quick." But Red Wolf says, "Boss, you should hurry. You must leave here first, otherwise neither of us will be able to get out." The MC shouts and calls Red Wolf's name, telling him to stop. But now it is already too late. Red Wolf has understood what the MC refuses to accept. Only one of them can survive. So he stays back to close the entrance and shouts, "Boss, you go." Then the timer reaches 0, and at the same time the entrance closes. Then a huge explosion happens, the kind that shakes the earth and leaves nothing but rubble and regret. Because of this explosion, the entire base gets completely destroyed. With this news spreads across the dark web that Wolf King, who is the leader of the Wolf organization, failed his mission in a small African country and detonated explosive, dying with his body shattered to pieces. Along with this, people on the dark web start chatting among themselves. They are completely shocked, saying how the Wolf King, who is revered as a king of assassins in the assassin world, actually died. Another comment says, "The Wolf King is an S-rank assassin, the globally recognized pinnacle of combat power. What kind of mission did he even go on?" And one user comments, "What a pity. The Wolf organization will probably be thrown into chaos now." On the dark web, the news has spread that the Wolf King is dead, but in reality, the Wolf King is still alive. He comes out from the ruins, dust and debris falling from his shoulders, and says, "I am the Wolf King, revered by the assassin world as the unmatched king of assassins. Yet I encountered an accident during this operation. My teammate Red Wolf sacrificed his life to save me, allowing only me to survive. After this battle, I was heavily injured. However, during the repair and reconstruction of my meridians, I broke through my limit, connected all my meridians, and actually reached the legendary martial arts realm, the transformation realm, the kind of power-up that comes at a price no one should have to pay. Even so, the current me only wants to live the life of an ordinary person. No longer arrogant, I have cancelled my long-dormant life in the mortal world, like a 1,000-year-old turtle hiding my identity. However, there is still one thing that remains like a thorn in my heart, something I cannot let go of. I must complete it." Then the scene shifts to the station exit. After coming out of the station, the MC takes a deep breath. He feels a sense of freedom. There is a smile on his face, and he looks up toward the sky, the smile of a man who has survived death and is still standing. Then after that, he goes to a taxi driver and tells him an address, number 33 Union. The taxi driver understands and says, "All right." After this, the driver starts driving the car fast and says to the MC, young man, judging from your accent, you are not from around here. Coming to visit relative. He also says, yeah, you could say that. Driver further says, trying to climb ties with the Feng family is not that easy, you know. In response, the MC says, oh, the kind of oh that means you have no idea what you're talking about. After some time, they arrive. There are many cars around and the taxi stops directly near the gate where 2 bodyguards are guarding the entrance, the kind of security that says we have something worth protecting. Then the MC is trying to take out money. But the driver says, no rush, I will wait for you. You can pay for the round trip together. In response, the MC says, what do you mean? Then the driver says, you will find out soon. The MC gets out of the taxi and starts walking toward that big gate. And while going, he says, looks like the Feng family has a joyous occasion today. The driver is still sitting in the taxi and whispers, today is a big day for the Feng family, dressed so shabbily. You are obviously here to climb the social ladder with the Feng. If you can even get through the Feng family gates, I will streak naked around Hanjin. The confidence of a man who has never seen a wolf in sheep's clothing. The MC stands in front of the Feng residence and seeing this place he says, this is indeed the place. Then he starts thinking, I need to fulfill my father's dying wish as quickly as possible and then go investigate the incident from back then. That means the MC has come to fulfill his father's last wish. Promise made to a dead man, the heaviest kind of promise there is. But then the guards stop him right at the gate and ask, do you have an invitation? In response, he says, what kind of invitation? One bodyguard rudely says, you are not here for the banquet. Then what is your business? So the MC puts his hand into his pocket and says, I am here to see Uncle Feng. Then he shows a photo in which there is a picture of his father and his uncle and says, the man in the photo is my father. As soon as the bodyguards see the photo, they get a little confused and say, there is definitely a resemblance. Then the protagonist takes out another proof, a small box, and says, once Uncle Feng sees the medal of my father, he will naturally understand my identity. As soon as the bodyguard hears this, his tone changes and he respectfully takes that medal. That medal is kept inside that small box and he says, please wait a moment. We will inform the master immediately. The MC also says, all right, okay. Then inside the Feng family, a banquet is going on. Many people have gathered and are enjoying the party and they are talking. Time really flies, one guest says. Another guest says, it feels like just yesterday Yunan was a little girl going to school with her backpack, and now she's getting engaged and married. Then we see Yunan, who is looking very beautiful, and she says, Grandpa, what are you saying? Even if I get married, I will still be a part of the Feng family. Then we are shown the head of the Feng family, Uncle Feng. He stands up and raises a cup of wine and says, distinguished guests, today is the grand engagement day of my daughter Feng Yunan and the eldest young master of the Win family, Win Ziying. Then both Yunan and Ziying stand up and also raise the wine cups in their hand. And Uncle Feng is saying, let us all raise our glass and congratulate the 2 young people. And I also wish that the business between our Feng family and Win family will continue to prosper. Everyone starts cheering and saying congratulations, and they say with a marriage alliance between the Feng and Win family, they will be able to command the wind and rain in Willing City in the future. Everyone is celebrating happily and also saying, indeed, indeed. But suddenly a bodyguard comes behind Uncle Feng and quietly says, Master, something has come up. Uncle Feng looks at the bodyguard. There is a bit of panic visible on the bodyguard's face. Uncle Feng becomes a little confused and asks, why are you so panicked? What happened? Then the bodyguard shows the MC's father's medal to Uncle Feng and says, Master, there is a young man outside looking for you and he brought. As soon as Uncle Feng sees that medal, he is completely shocked and says, this is someone from the Jiang family. At that moment, Uncle Feng's wife says, what? Someone from the Jiang family? Why did they have to appear at this critical moment? And Uncle Feng's daughter becomes surprised and asks, Mom, what Jiang family? Why did your expression change so drastic? Then her mother explains, back in the day, your father arranged a childhood betrothal for your sister with the Jiang family son, Jiang Hao. As soon as the daughter hears this, she is completely shocked and says, what? Then she says to her grandfather, Grandfather, if the visitor really is the son of the Jiang family, you must stand up for my sister. You cannot let her marry a stranger. Then her grandfather says, all right, don't panic. Jiaming, you go take a look first. Before leaving, Uncle Feng says, you all stay here and entertain the Win family for a bit. I will go see the visitor. His wife says, okay then. After this, he comes to meet the MC and the bodyguard also brings him into a room. Uncle Feng says, how? It really is you. There's a lot of happiness on Uncle Feng's face. And he says, I have looked so hard for you all these years. The MC also becomes very happy seeing Uncle Feng and says, I'm late and caused you to worry. Then both of them hug each other, the embrace of 2 men who have lost too much already. Uncle Feng says, it has been years since we last met and you are already a grown young man now. By the way, is your father doing well? Why did he not? In response, the MC pauses for a moment. His facial expression changes. He becomes sad, and in a sorrowful voice he says, my father passed away 10 years ago because his old injury relapsed. As soon as Uncle Feng hears this, he is completely shocked and becomes sad. He places his hand on the MC's shoulder, lowers his face and says, it's all my fault. Back then, if it were not for saving me, he would not have been injured. Howie, you must have suffered a lot these past few years. The MC says, it's fine, it's all in the past. He further says, by the way, Uncle Feng, I came this time to fulfill my father's dying wish. He told me to come find you, saying that once I found you, everything would become clear. After hearing the MC's words, Uncle Feng becomes serious and says, your father's dying wish, I understand, it's just that right now. At that moment, Uncle Feng's wife also comes there. Uncle Feng looks at her and says, "Why are you all out here?" The Win family affair settled. We see that the entire Feng family has come down. His wife says, "Yes, we arranged for people to see them off." Then Uncle Feng introduces the MC to everyone saying, "Howie, this is your aunt and Yunan. You still remember them, right? You two even played house together when you were kids." As soon as the MC sees Yunan, he becomes happy and says, "Sister Yunan, it's been years since we last met. You have changed so much. I almost could not recognize." Yunan smiles and says, "Hello, my childhood memories are a bit blurry too." But her sister is in a completely different mood. She is angry and says in an irritated tone, "Showing up after more than 10 years and suddenly appearing today of all days, let me ask you, what did you come here for today?" Hearing her words, the MC becomes slightly alert, and just then another person comes who is her brother. He says, "Is there even a need to ask?" "It's obviously for my sister, trying to climb the social ladder of our Feng family. Let me tell you, keep dreaming. My sister is already engaged to the young master of the Win family." At that moment, Uncle Feng suddenly shouts, "Jiming, shut your mouth." Then Yunan tries to understand what is going on. She becomes a little anxious and says, "Right, Dad, what is going on?" At the same time, the MC also says, "Uncle Feng, what exactly is going on? I came this time for my father's dying wish." After this, Uncle Feng becomes a little serious. First, he lowers his voice and says, "Howie." Then he looks at him and explains, "Back then, your father and I arranged a childhood betrothal for you and Yunan. That is your father's dying wish." As soon as both the male and female hear this, they're completely shocked and say, "What? A childhood betrothal?" The MC looks at his uncle in confusion, and his uncle further explains, "That's right. This is the agreement I made with your father in the past. Consider it a promise." Now the MC understands everything. He starts thinking, so my dad's dying wish was the childhood betrothal. Once you enter the martial world, it is as deep as the sea. Getting married now will only harm myself and others. Then he says, "Uncle, if this is my dad's dying wish, then I wish to cancel this marriage." But the girl's brother does not stay quiet. He shouts, "You rushed over here today just because you found out that my sister and the young master of the Win family are getting engaged, didn't you?" And the girl also says, "That's right. You are just afraid you won't be able to climb the social ladder of our family." At the same time, Uncle Feng is completely shocked and says, "What?" The girl's brother is still shouting, "He is just a beggar. What right does he have to be my brother-in-law?" His father scolds him, impudent. "Apologize to Howie immediately. See how I teach you a lesson." He even raises his hand to hit him, but his son says, "Dad, hit me. Then if you have the heart to marry my sister off to a beggar, then just beat me to death." But before the slap can land, his sister steps in front to protect him and says while crying, "Dad, do you really intend to cancel my engagement with the Win family and make me marry Jiang Hao?" Her father says, "That's right. Your marriage to Howie was settled 20 years ago. Cannot be changed." His daughter cries even more and says, "To disregard your daughter's happiness for your own selfish promise. You don't deserve to be a father." Then she runs away crying and her siblings also follow behind her saying, "Sister, where are you going?" Then Uncle Feng places his hand on the MC's shoulder and says, "Howie, you stay here for now. Take a good shower and get some rest." The MC says, "Uncle Feng, I still think." But Uncle Feng interrupts him and says, "Listen to me. I will figure everything out." Then at night in the Feng family house, the MC is in his room and is cultivated. He says, "At this time every day I practice the inner breathing mental technique. It allows me to absorb the Kai of heaven and earth, cleanse my meridians, strengthen my internal organs, and sharpen my 5 senses. Right now, I am about to step into the transformation room." Then a voice comes from another room which the MC hears because his hearing ability is many times sharper than an ordinary human, the kind of hearing that turns every whispered secret into a shouted confession. His uncle and grandfather are talking in another room, and the MC is listening. His uncle is saying to his father, "Yes, Howie's father died because of. If he had not been severely injured saving me in the past, his family would not have declined and there would not be the prosperous Feng family today. Dad, if I break my promise and cancel the engagement, can I still be considered human?" His father replies, "By doing this, you are fulfilling your original promise, but you are making Yunan suffer." Uncle Feng says, "Yunan is my daughter. She will surely understand her father's difficulties in the future." His father says, "Right now, everyone in Willing City knows about the marriage alliance between our Feng and Win families. Canceling the engagement now will definitely trigger the Win family's fury." Feng says, "I will find a way to deal with it." His father says, "I can agree to this marriage, but on 3 conditions. Uncle Feng asks, "What kind of conditions?" His father replies, "First, a 3-month period to observe his character. Second, you cannot help him from the sideline. Third, he must become a live-in son-in-law of our Feng family." Hearing this, Uncle Feng is a little shocked and says, "A live-in son-in-law? Will Howie agree to that?" His father says, "Our Feng family holds a prominent status in Willing City. How could we marry off our eldest daughter to a poor boy with absolutely no back?" Then Uncle Feng agrees and says, "Fine, since that's the case, I will go talk to Howie." Meanwhile, in the other room, the MC continues cultivating while listening to everything. He understands everything and thinks, "Uncle Feng has put a lot of thought into this for my sake. I cannot make things difficult for him anymore." After this, his uncle comes near his room, knocks on the door and asks, "Howie, have you thought it through?" The MC stands up and wears his shirt. On his chest, there is a tattoo which is the mark of the Wolf King, a reminder of who he really is, hidden beneath the facade. He says, "Not yet, Uncle Feng, please come in." Then both of them start talking face to face. Uncle Feng says, "How about your marriage with Yunan?" The MC says, "Uncle Feng, I will not make things difficult for you. I will agree to whatever you say." Hearing this, Uncle Feng becomes happy and says, "Really, Howie? You can marry into the Feng family as a live-in son-in-law." The MC says, "Yes, I agree." Hearing this, Uncle Feng becomes a little emotional and says, "My boy, Uncle Feng is sorry to." But the MC smiles and says, "Uncle Feng, you are being too serious." Uncle Feng says, "All right, get some good rest. I will go make the arrangements." Then his uncle starts leaving the room, and while looking at his uncle's departing shadow, the MC thinks, in order not to make things difficult for Uncle Feng, I can only agree to it for now. As for 3 months later, I will leave home. I will have long left this city by then. The kind of plan that sounds simple but never works out that way. After this, the scene shifts to another place, the Win family. There, the head of the Win family, Win Gaifeng, slams his hand on the table and shouts, "What? Cancel the engagement. The engagement ceremony is in 3 days. You are not joking with me, are you?" Uncle Feng remains serious and says, "I hope brother understands my After all, a promise was made first. You would not want me to be a person who breaks his word and abandons righteousness, would you?" But Win Gaifeng's whole body is trembling with anger, he says, "Then you can just make a fool out of my Win family and turn us into a laughing stock for everyone in Willing City." Uncle Feng says, "Since things have come to this, to express my apology, the Feng group will withdraw from the Nanchang district project." But even then, Win Gaifeng's anger does not calm down. He shouts again, "Do you take my family for 3-year-olds, giving us a slap and then offering a sweet? The Win family won't just let this go. We will definitely make your Feng family pay the price." Then he angrily leaves and Uncle Feng says, "See the guest out." After that, the scene shifts again and we see a cyber cafe. In the cyber cafe, many people are present. Some are playing games, some are working, and some are enjoying themselves. The MC is also there. He has come to clear some things, to investigate something. He is rapidly typing on the keyboard, searching for information. On the computer screen, there is an image of a butterfly and a news headline. "XXX trade employees published XXX info news." He is thinking. On the screen in front of him, there is a photo of an old man. It is written that an overseas grandmaster and the southern first master known as the Eastern Roaming Dragon has had a global kill order issued on him by the close family with a bounty of $200 million US. The MC thinks he is an S-rank martial arts grandmaster. He is worth this price, but why is he being hunted down? So that's why. Then he sees another news. A female student from a certain Huaxia university was raped and murdered, and the suspect was a direct descendant of the close family. This descendant also sent people to assassinate the female student's mother, who kept trying to file a lawsuit. Panam could not stand by, so he assassinated the descendant along with over a dozen of his personal bodyguards. The MC thinks, Panam has a deep-seated hatred for evil, truly worthy. Being my master's close friend. But then he sees something that makes his mouse freeze. His eyes stop on the computer screen. He sees the leader of the Wolf organization, the Wolf King, has fallen. The number 4 figure of the Wolf organization, Cadius, has become the new generation's leader of the Wolf. This means that the leader of the Wolf organization has already changed. At this moment, the MC recalls how he and his close teammate fell into a trap. He tried to escape the blast, but his teammate sacrificed himself to save him. The explosion was massive. Remembering this, the MC becomes extremely angry and thinks, "What's going on? After my death, the number 2 figure, Lone Wolf, should have been the one to succeed me." Then he stands up, becoming serious, and takes a name, Cadius. He thinks, that mission must have been a setup by someone. I want to see who the traitor in the Wolf organization. Rest assured, Red Wolf, I will definitely find out the truth and avenge you. And on that same night, under the silver moonlight, the MC comes out of the internet cafe and starts walking forward. He is thinking, I will stay here a few more days to track down clues and take some time to familiarize myself with the environment. As he moves ahead, suddenly a car stops right in front of him. The MC gets a little surprised. Just then, 2 thugs come out of the car. They look at the MC and say, "Buddy, do us a favor and come with us." Then both of them pull out daggers and start smiling, showing them to the MC. But they have no idea who the MC really is or what he is capable of, the kind of mistake that usually ends with a hospital visit. One of the thugs comes closer to the MC and says, "Kid, if you dare to resist again, I will stick a white blade in and pull a red blade out." The MC thinks, looks like they are just ordinary thugs. I cannot expose my identity, let's see what they want to do first. So the MC pretends to cooperate. He raises his hands and says, "You two, let's talk this out. Don't use violence." The other thug says, "Quietly get in the car." As the car door opens and the MC looks inside, he sees that there is already another hostage sitting inside. She is a girl. Her mouth is taped shut and she is crying. She has also been kidnapped, a complication he hadn't planned for. Then all of them get into the car and one thug takes out a rope to tie the MC. But before that, the MC says, "Guys, if you're robbing me, I only have $300 in my pockets. I can give it all to you." But the thug says, "Shut up, don't try any tricks. We are not grabbing you for your $300. Hearing this, a faint smile appears on the MC's face, the smile of a predator who has just realized he's been surrounded by prey. He looks at them and says, "If not for money, then why are you grabbing me?" The other thug replies, "Don't ask so many questions. You will find out when we get there. After it's done, we will even give you a large sum of money." Hearing this, the MC becomes slightly surprised, but he continues to cooperate with them. The thugs make him sit inside the van and take him somewhere else. But they have no idea what is about to happen to them or to the person behind all of this, the kind of ignorance that usually precedes catastrophic regret. The next scene shifts to another place. This place is actually the same girl's house, the girl who was kidnapped earlier. Inside the house, several elders are sitting together. Her grandfather, father, and uncle are all gathered there with tense expressions on their faces. The kind of tension that comes from realizing someone you love is in danger and you can't do anything about it. Then the grandfather suddenly asks, "Have you found anything yet? Did you figure out who kidnapped?" Immediately, someone answers from the front, "I already contacted all of my connections and friends, but none of them know anything." Right at that moment, another man suddenly stands up in panic. Then the old man says in a serious voice, "We must prepare for both possibilities. We need to find the kidnappers and the reason behind this immediately." At the same time, the slightly fat man beside him also rises from his chair and says, "Dad, several major projects in the company are in their final stages right now. We really don't have 500 million available on the book." But the old man narrows his eyes and asks, "Then what do you suggest we do?" The fat man immediately replies, "Negotiate with the kidnappers and lower the ransom to 100 million. The moment he says that, the man standing beside him becomes furious. He looks completely shocked and shouts, "What are you saying, irresponsible older brother? If it wasn't my daughter Yao who got kidnapped, but your son Jiang Feng instead, would you still say the same thing?" That makes it clear that the glasses-wearing man is Yao's father, a man whose world has just been turned upside down. But the fat man coldly answers, "Even if Jiang Feng were kidnapped, I would still do exactly the same thing." Hearing those words, Yao's father becomes extremely angry. However, before the argument can continue, the grandfather suddenly slams his hand onto the table and roars, "That's enough. Stop arguing." Then he says firmly, "No matter what method we use, find a way to gather the 500 million. Money is just money, but if she's gone, then she's truly gone." The kind of wisdom that only comes from age and loss. After that, the scene shifts toward the kidnappers' hideout. Their vehicle drives through the giant gate of an abandoned factory-like area. The place is completely isolated and eerie, the kind of location that movies use for final showdowns and bad decisions. Then the kidnappers drag both the kidnapped MC and the girl out of the car. The MC quietly observes the surrounding. He remains silent the entire time, cooperating calmly without resisting. Right after that, the cloth covering Yao's mouth gets removed. The moment the tape comes off, the poor girl immediately screams in fear, "Help, I'm being kidnapped." But honestly, the girl is foolishly panicking. They brought her to a completely deserted place. Nobody can hear her here, and nobody is coming to save her. The harsh reality of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then one of the kidnappers licks his lips in a disgusting way and says, "If you keep screaming, I'll strip you naked right now." He deliberately threatens her in a horrifying tone, basically implying that he will violate her before killing her. Hearing that, the girl becomes even more terrified and hurriedly says, "Don't come near me. If you dare try anything, I'll bite my tongue off and kill myself." The poor girl is already trembling with fear, yet the kidnapper continues scaring her even more. "We love it when they don't move. Then we can do whatever we want with." The guy is a complete pervert, the kind of scum that gives humanity a bad name. But at that moment, another one of his companions walks over and says, "Stop talking nonsense and focus on business." Then the kidnapper grins and says, "All right, boss. My video shooting skills are top-notch." After that, they bring out a camera. The frightened girl immediately asks, "What are you planning to film?" Then she nervously says, You want to film a murder video to terrorize the Jean family into giving you the ransom." The boss smirks and replies, "You're quite smart, little girl." Hearing that, the girl angrily curses at them, "You animals, you're all unbelievably cruel." Soon after, one of the kidnappers walks toward the MC while holding a dagger. Then the MC calmly asks him, "Didn't you say you would give me a large amount of money after this was done? Why are you going back on your word?" The kidnapper laughs mockingly and replies, "Don't worry. Once you're dead, we'll definitely burn a massive amount of hell money." Then he bursts into laughter again, the kind of laugh that comes from someone who has no idea they're already dead. Right after that, the MC gets tied tightly to a giant iron pillar. The filming officially begins. The girl is already terrified out of her mind. She hurriedly tells the MC, "Hurry and beg for mercy, otherwise they'll kill you." But instead of feeling threatened, the kidnapper becomes even happier and says, "You're actually not afraid. I respect you as a real man. I can help pass on your last words, but it won't be free. You'll have to give me all your money." Even at a time like this, the bastard is still obsessed with money. Just how poor and greedy is this guy? Then the MC coldly says, "I did not want to resort to killing. Why must you court death?" The kidnapper immediately bursts out laughing. Is this guy really a complete idiot, bargaining shamelessly at death's door? None of them realize who the MC truly is, the most dangerous kind of mistake. Then the MC calmly says, "I agree." The kidnapper looks confused and asks, "You agree to what?" The MC replies, "The last word's fee, except you will be the one paying me." The kidnapper laughs while patting the MC's shoulder and says, "He's so stupid. I don't even have the heart to kill him anymore." At that moment, their boss suddenly stands up from his chair. He is holding a massive machete in his hand. "Then let me do it." In the next second, he charges forward violently. Meanwhile, another thug shouts excitedly. When second brother gets angry, even the king of hell trembles. Then the boss swings the machete directly toward the MC. Seeing this terrifying scene, the girl tightly shuts her eyes in fear. But only 1 second later, she slowly opens them again, and the sight before her completely shocks her. In the very next moment, the MC throws a devastating punch directly into the attacker's face, instantly shattering all of his teeth. The man gets blasted backward and crashes onto the ground unconscious. All of the other thugs are completely stunned. Second brother is dead. Just a single punch, the MC completely destroyed him. the kind of force that makes you question everything you thought you knew about fighting. Immediately after that, another man pulls out a gun and shouts, "Brothers, I'm going to shoot this bastard dead." But right at that moment, something falls near the MC's feet. The MC instantly kicks the piece of metal lying on the ground. The iron fragment shoots forward at terrifying speed and slams directly into the gunman's hand. In a single instant, the thug's hand gets horribly mangled. Blood sprays everywhere and the gun falls from his grip. At the same time, several more armed thugs rush forward to attack the MC. One of them fires immediately, but the MC's reaction speed is unbelievably fast. He rushes toward them while dodging the bullets effortlessly, the kind of agility that makes you wonder if he's even human. Then, in a single movement, he attacks one thug's neck and drives his hand directly through the man's chest. The second thug becomes terrified, but before he can even react, the MC thrusts his hand straight through another man's chest as well. The bald thug standing nearby is completely horrified. He cannot even react properly to what's happening. Then suddenly he feels an overwhelming pressure. Trembling in fear, he asks, "WH, who exactly are you?" And in the next instant, the MC suddenly appears directly behind him like a ghost. In a cold, evil-like voice, he says, "My name is not something you are worthy of knowing." Before the bald man can react, the MC grabs his head and slams it violently into the ground. After that, the MC casually takes all of his money as well. "Oops, I only collected the last word's fee, but forgot to ask for it first." Then he steps directly on the bald man's face, the kind of casual cruelty that only the truly powerful can afford. At that moment, Yao's voice suddenly calls out to him, "Hey, could you please come over and untie these ropes for me?" Without saying a word, the MC casually throws a knife. The knife flies straight through the air and perfectly cuts her ropes apart. The girl is completely shocked by his terrifying accuracy. After that, the MC immediately starts walking away without saying much. From behind him, the girl hurriedly says, "Thank you." But the MC coldly replies, "There is no need to thank me. Don't tell anyone I was here." He clearly wants to hide his identity, the mark of a man who lives in the shadow. After saying that, the boy simply leaves. Sometime later, police and emergency vehicles arrive at the scene. Yao has already been rescued and is now sitting beside an ambulance wrapped in a blanket. Soon, her grandfather and father arrive as well. The moment her grandfather sees her safe, he becomes emotional. The girl immediately runs into her grandfather's arm. Tears fill her eyes as she cries uncontrollably, the release of all the fear she had been holding in. At that moment, a police officer walks over and asks, "Miss Jean, what kind of person killed these kidnappers and saved?" The girl first wipes the tears from her eyes before replying, "He was masked. I didn't see his face." The officer continues, "Then what was his build like?" The girl calmly answers, "Chubby and short. He should be a middle-aged man in his 40s. From behind her, the grandfather nods and supports her statement. Yes, she's protecting her savior, even from the law, a debt of honor she intends to repay. After that, the scene shifts once again. Very late at night, the girl has already returned home. Her grandfather is now sitting across from her. Then the old man slowly begins questioning, "Yao Yao, I watched you grow up. I understand your temperament and personality better than anyone. You lied to the police today, didn't you?" The girl lowers her head slightly and says, "I actually saw my savior's face, but he saved me. I cannot repay kindness with betrayal and enmity." The grandfather nods slowly and says, "It is naturally a good thing that you kept your promise and understand how to repay kindness." Then his expression becomes serious. "But Grandpa also needs to remind you, our Jean family is a prestigious family." It's still unclear whether that savior rescued you out of pure confidence or if he has some alternative motive. The girl quietly responds, "Grandpa, I understand." The old man then says gently, "You've had a difficult day today. Go back to your room and rest early." After that, the girl returns to her room. She closes the door behind her and leans against it silently. Then she falls deep into thought. Did he really have some alternative motive in saving? Meanwhile, after Yao leaves, another man walks over toward the old man and says, "Elder Jean." The old man immediately orders, "Starting tomorrow, you will personally be responsible for protecting Yao's safety. There cannot be a single mistake." The man respectfully nods. "Rest assured, Elder Jean. Do you have any other orders?" The old man's face turns serious again as he says, "Secretly investigate who exactly killed those kidnappers and saved Yao." Meanwhile, on the other side, the MC is rapidly running through the streets at incredible speed. He's using his movement technique and lightness skill called scheming shadow step. His body moves like a shadow in the night, and within a short amount of time, he arrives near his future father-in-law's house. Then he opens the gate and walks inside. The moment he enters, his future in-laws are already sitting there waiting, for the kind of reception that suggests they've been waiting specifically to confront him. Suddenly, the young man there immediately shouts angrily, "Grandpa, does Jiang Hao really take our Feng family seriously? He just entered our doors yesterday, and today he dares to come back this late." The MC calmly replies, "Do the Feng family rules specifically stipulate a return time at night?" Hearing that, his future brother-in-law becomes even angry. But before he can continue, Uncle Feng suddenly says, "Insolent. Even though Howie hasn't married your sister yet, you should still call him brother-in-law. How can you be so rude?" But the future brother-in-law angrily yells back, "A poor boy with no education and no background. What qualifications does he have to become my brother-in-law? Compared to Brother Jiaming, he's like a firefly trying to outshine the bright moon." Then he continues arrogantly, "You probably don't even know this, do you? Brother Jiaming's godfather is the leading authority of Willing City's underworld, Lord Lei. Right now, our Feng family has made the Win family a complete joke throughout Willing City. Do you think Lord Lei won't help his own godson get revenge? Uncle Feng's expression turns serious. As he says, the underworld rumors are almost certainly true. After saying that, his son snorts coldly and storms away from the room. At the same time, Aunt Feng also glances coldly at the MC before leaving as well. Only Uncle Feng stays behind. Then he walks over, pats the MC's shoulder and says gently, "Howie, don't take it to heart. Even if what Jiang said is true, Uncle Feng will still do his best to ensure that you are not harmed in the slightest." The MC calmly replies, "Thank you, Uncle Feng. Thank you for your good intentions, but I'm not afraid of people like Lord Lei. If they truly dare to come looking for trouble, I will make them regret it." The moment those words come out, the old grandfather immediately scolds him loudly. "Young people should know when to be humble and when to be arrogant. If you lose your life, there will be no place left for regret. Coming back this late like today must never happen again." As the MC starts walking away, he calmly says, "If speaking facts is considered arrogance, then I have nothing more to say. Uncle Feng, I'll return to my room first." Then he leaves. After that, only the old man and Uncle Feng remain in the room. Uncle Feng sighed softly before saying to his father, "Dad, Howie is still young and proud. Please don't take it to heart." But the old man's expression becomes heavy as he says, "I only hope this child coming into our Feng family will not become a disaster for the Feng family." The next morning arrives. The city looks calm and beautiful under the early sunlight, the kind of deceptive peace that hides all the chaos underneath. At this moment, the MC is standing outside a house gate while quietly thinking. There's no mistake. This is where Red Wolf's family used to live. Then he frowns slightly. Why is nobody home? Just then, a nearby shop owner auntie notices him. She's sitting outside on a chair near her small store. Then she says, "Young man, you came too late. Their family moved away over a year ago." Hearing that, the MC becomes slightly surprised. He walks closer and politely asks, "Ma'am, do you know where they moved to?" The woman is carrying her child in her arms while replying, "I don't know about that, but there's a girl nearby who is very close to their family. She might know." Then she looks at him again and says, "It's just that the girl has only been coming back once every 10 days or half a month recent." After hearing that, the MC immediately takes out a thick stack of cash and hands it to her. "In that case, ma'am, when that girl comes back, please give me a call." The moment she sees the money, the woman happily grabs it and smiles brightly. All right, no problem at all." Money truly can change people's attitudes instantly. The universal language that opens doors nothing else can. After that, the MC quietly stands there for a moment and falls into deep thought. Why would Red Wolf's family suddenly move away so mysteriously? Then he slowly starts walking away while thinking, could it be related to the attack on Red Wolf and me? The question hangs in the air like a storm cloud, promising answers that won't come easily. Soon the scene shifts toward a luxurious hotel building. Inside one of the rooms, Jiang is currently with another woman after spending the night together, the kind of behavior that suggests he's not as devoted to his fiancée as he pretends. At that moment, knocking sounds suddenly come from the door. The morning sunlight streams through the curtains, illuminating a scene that's about to get much more complicated. Jiang wakes up irritably and curses, "Who's the blind idiot disturbing good people while we're having sweet dreams this early in the morning?" The kind of anger that comes from someone who thinks the world revolves around his schedule. Then he walks over and opens the room door. Standing outside is one of his men, Jing. Jiang immediately asks, "Is there any news regarding the matter I told you to investigate?" The man quickly reports that the kid's name is Jiang Hao, a high school dropout. His father was Feng's former comrade in arms. After his father died from illness and injuries, his mother abandoned him and the kid disappeared without a trace, the kind of backstory that explains everything and nothing at the same time. Then he continues, "Rumors say he smuggled himself overseas to work illegally. Since he suddenly appeared now, he must have found out about your engagement with Miss Feng." The moment Jiang hears that, his face twists with rage. He clenches his fists tightly and grits his teeth while saying, "That lowlife trash is worse than a toad. He's a cockroach, a piece of shit." The insults keep coming, each one more desperate than the last. Then Qingzi asks coldly, "Young Master Win, how about I quietly finish him off?" But Jiang waves his hand and says, "Let's try peaceful measures before resorting to force. I want to go see Yunan first." The kind of restraint that won't last very long. Soon after that, Jiang arrives to meet Yunan. The two of them sit together quietly while drinking tea. However, the girl looks slightly sad, the sadness of someone caught between obligation and desire. Then she softly asks, "Brother Jiang, what's the matter? Why did you ask me out today?" Jiang stares directly at her before asking, "Yunan, are you really going to listen to your father's arrangement and marry that perfect stranger?" The girl lowers her head slightly before replying, "Jiang Hao's father died early while trying to save my father. This is what our Feng family owes the Jiang family." Before she can continue, Jiang suddenly stands up and says emotionally, "Yunan, let's elope. Once everything is done, we can come back later." But Yunan immediately lowers her head even more and softly says, "No, that would make my dad look unrighteous. My father values promises more than anything. Doing that would basically kill him." The weight of filial duty crushing the wings of love. Zia clenches his teeth tightly. "Then what about me? If the Win family's engagement gets broken off by the Feng family, wouldn't that become the biggest joke in all of Willing City? Tell me who will compensate me for that." The girl's eyes slowly become red as she says, "Brother Jiang, I apologize to you on behalf of my dad." Then tears begin falling from her eyes as she turns around and starts leaving. "Our relationship ends here. You should accept reality too. Jiming remains standing there while grinding his teeth in anger. But then he suddenly picks up his phone, dials a number, and coldly says, "Qingxi, execute Plan B." But what exactly is Plan B? Nobody knows yet, the kind of mystery that usually ends with someone in a hospital. After that, the scene shifts once again. Late at night, the MC suddenly receives a call from the same shop owner lady. Excitedly, she says, "Young man, come quick." That girl is back. The moment the MC hears that, he immediately replies, "Thank you, ma'am, I'll be right there." After hanging up, he quickly changes clothes and rushes downstairs. At that moment, Uncle Feng is downstairs drinking tea. Seeing him leave so late, Uncle Feng asks, "Howie, where are you going at this hour?" The MC calmly replies, "Uncle, I'm going out for a run." At midnight, the kind of excuse that fools no one but is accepted anyway. Then he immediately leaves. Outside, he stops a taxi. The driver asks, "Buddy, where are you headed?" The MC answers, "Ping Road." The driver nods, "All right, get in." But the moment the MC enters the taxi, he notices another rough-looking man already sitting inside. Then the taxi driver awkwardly explains, "Sorry, buddy. The taxi industry is in a slump right now, so I'll be picking up another passenger along the way." The kind of excuse that might be true but probably isn't. Soon the taxi starts moving. However, after some time it feels like the driver is taking a completely different route. The MC's eyes narrow slightly as he asks coldly, "Where exactly are you guys heading?" The question hangs in the air like a blade waiting to fall. Inside the taxi, the main character looked confused as he questioned the three guys riding with him. He asked, "We're just giving this big guy a ride home. His place is really out of the way. This doesn't look like Nanjing North on Menjiang Road at all. What is this place? Who are you people, really?" The thug in the front seat turned around with a smirk that could curdle milk and replied, "Fine, we'll be straight with you. Our boss wants to see you. Relax, we're almost there." The kind of relax that means exactly the opposite of relax. Taxi pulled up to a massive, luxurious mansion illuminated against the night sky. The kind of place that screams, "I have money and I'm not afraid to use it to intimidate." As our MC stepped out of the cab, the driver told him, "Boss's orders, you go in alone." Unfazed, the MC walked toward the grand double doors where a burly guard warned him, "Don't worry. As long as you behave, our boss won't lay a finger on you." The MC confidently pushed the doors open, stating, "I'd like to see who's so eager to meet me, because when you've got nothing to lose, you've got nothing to fear." Inside the lavish room, he found a man in a crisp white suit casually sipping wine on a sofa, flanked by a massive bald bodyguard who looked like he'd been eating steroids for breakfast. The MC glared at them and demanded, "Who are you people? I don't know any of you." The man in the white suit swirled his wine like a villain in a bad movie and arrogantly replied, "Maybe you don't know us, but we know you. You're Yunan's fiancé, the Feng family's future live-in son-in-law." He said live-in son-in-law like it was a disease he was diagnosing. Taking another sip, he listened as the MC asked, "So what do you want?" The MC stepped closer, figuring it out. "I get it now. I know who you are, so tell me, why drag me out here and tie me up?" The white suit guy stood up, looking furious as he belittled the MC. "What part of you is worthy of Yunan? Broke loser like you wouldn't even get to stand near her if not for Uncle Feng. If she marries trash like you, it'll be the biggest humiliation of Yunan's entire life." He then delivered a sinister ultimatum. "Leave one finger, then get out of Yunan's life. Go back to whatever hole you crawled out of and never show your face again." Kind of negotiation that starts with mutilation and only goes downhill. Instead of being scared, the MC just smirked, his eyes glinting dangerously like a wolf who just realized the sheep are actually rabbits. He challenged, "And if I refuse?" The white suit guy lost his temper, shouting, "Then don't blame us for getting rough. Kaingzi, teach him some manners." The massive bald bodyguard, Kaingzi, angrily cracked his knuckle, the sound of someone about to make a terrible mistake. Wan Jiming, the guy in the white suit, watched in absolute horror as the bowing thug revealed to him, "Aren't you Ziosu, Uncle Feng's driver and bodyguard? The head of the family saw you rush out and worried you might be in danger, so he sent me to shadow you." The plot twist no one saw coming, not even the guy who planned the kidnap. Wan Jiming was left trembling, sweating bullets and looking completely pathetic as the scene implied he had wet himself in fear, with a sensor icon conveniently placed over his body, quietly whimpering, The mighty had fallen, and fallen hard. The MC glared back at him with glowing red eyes, realizing the setup. So this is it, and Uncle Feng actually sent him to protect, he thought to himself, concluding. Two thugs stepped forward, looming over the MC in the shadows as one said, "Enough talk. Come with me into the yard." Outside, another thug was busy digging a massive grave-like pit near the taxi, because nothing says we're reasonable people like pre-dug holes. As the MC stood near the edge of the freshly dug earth, the thug with the shovel taunted, "Kid, the road to heaven is wide open, but you didn't take. Hell has no gate, yet you chose to break in." Bald thug and his buddy stood behind the MC, threatening, "You jumping in yourself, or do we have to toss you?" The MC simply facepalmed and sighed, "I had no intention of killing anyone. Why are you so desperate to die?" The confidence of a man who knows exactly how this is going to end. Enraged, the thug raised his shovel high to strike him from behind, screaming, "You're still mouthing off when you're about to die. Go to hell." In a flash of shadowed action, the MC effortlessly dodged the attack. With brutal force, he intercepted the strike, sending the thug flying backward with a censored burst of blood. the kind of hit that makes you reconsider all your life choices. A third thug tried to ambush the MC from above, but without even looking, because he's that good, the MC launched. Powerful backward kick, sending the airborne attacker flying across the yard like a ragdoll. Trying to salvage their pride, the bald guy and a knife-wielding thug stepped up, declaring, "Didn't think you had some move, but this is as far as you go. Drain this punk's blood and let him lie here waiting for death." Another thug immediately lunged at the MC with a sharp spike, but the MC calmly caught the attacker's wrist mid-thrust like he was grabbing a coffee cup. He then grabbed the thug by the face, lifting him effortlessly before brutally slamming him face first into the dirt, shattering the ground beneath. The sheer force of the attack created a giant crater, sending the bald guy and his crew tumbling into the pit they had dug for someone else. Suddenly, a newly arrived thug bowed down before the MC in complete panic, pleading, "Be big bro, this is all a misunderstanding. It was all young Master Wan's. No, that bastard Wan Jiming's idea. We can talk this out." The speed at which he threw his boss under the bus was almost Olympic. "Then I don't need to dirty my hands any further, do I? The wisdom of knowing when to stop is the wisdom of survivor." But the irony was not lost on anyone still conscious. Terrified out of his mind, the bald thug scrambled on the ground, screaming, "And no, no." In a desperate act of submission, he grabbed a heavy rock and violently smashed it into his own forehead to knock himself out, because sometimes the safest place is unconsciousness. The thugs completely neutralized and trapped in the crater they had dug, poetry in motion, really. The MC casually walked away with his hands in his pockets, leaving the destroyed yard and his defeated enemies behind in the dead of night.